Hi guys, welcome back to My Steps to Sobriety, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stefan Neff. Today is another great day of an interview because today I have got Monk Coleman with me. Monk is a man, he's a fellow traveler, really, and he's also a divine spark. And when I heard this description, I thought I had to laugh to myself, because bottom line is that it is, I think the more we all have gone through darkness, the more we recognize how beautiful even that glimmer of light is, that we can be in the life of others. And I certainly, those people who came into my life when my darkness was at its greatest, it was such a beautiful thing, that hope to come into my life. And so therefore, I think Monk and I are both bringers of hope. And I think, therefore, I'm really excited of this discussion, this interview, to just show you guys that it is not as dark as you think. And let's explore, well, our darkness. Monk, you and me, we are in the hot seat today. So welcome to my show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to get into this discussion. I listened to your podcast, some of your podcasts already, and everything you talk about is right down my alley. You know, it's everything, even the guests that you've had on that I've listened to, it's just like, it's a common theme going on, and it really has to do with healing. So I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Thank you. And it is hard for us because certainly when I was in my darkest, I would have never dreamt about openly talking about my trauma, talking about my youth, the poverty in my life. I would have been ashamed. I would have been. I was brought up with this kind of everything has to look good from the outside, regardless how broken it is on the inside. This stoic kind of behavior of myself, as well as the picture that we portray as a family towards the outside. Hindsight makes me vomit, but that was the belief system I got brought up with. How was your youth? I mean, how did it work out for you?
Well, we never had to live up to an image. We couldn't live up to the image. We were poor and we looked poor and we acted poor.
Right.
There was 7 of us and there was no male in the house ever at any time.
Right.
My father passed away when I was about 3 and a half. And then my mom still had kids with other people, but there was never a man in the house ever. So I didn't think that affected me, but going forward, when I started to become an adult, I realized it did. So there was no hiding our poverty. You know what I'm saying? Some people can get away with it. There was no hiding the dysfunction because, we were always fighting and acting up and misbehaving. We were just really, we were looking for something that wasn't there, and not getting it, we started to act out.
When did that start, that acting out?
Oh, man. I started doing stuff about 5 years old. I started at literally stealing from stores, stealing from just in general, fighting, doing things like that. I tried at 6 years old, I pulled a knife on my brother, my older brother. He was messing with me. And I literally said, if you keep messing with me, I'm gonna stab you. And this is at a very young age. I had a friend that we used to run around and get in trouble together. I used to pick up cigarettes off the ground and smoke them and light them. So at that point, very young, I was already getting into a lot of trouble. And it stopped when I got old enough to know what heaven and hell was, the story that was given to me, because our mother took us to church all the time. So, I would get in trouble as a young child, misbehaving. And then I got to the point where I understood the concept of heaven and hell. And it was terrifying, it was frightening. So I really started to change my ways out of fear. And if you do anything out of fear, it's not going to be a good result, period. I don't care what it is. If it's a fearful decision, it's not going to turn out well for you. So that's what happened. And I started to act better for a while, for years, actually, until I got to my late teens. And then I played out the other part of my programming, which was the dysfunction.
Nicely said, isn't it? Nicely said. You could, of course, say that the initial playing out or the initial acting out was not acting out; it was surviving. It was you trying to do the best that you could under those circumstances, regardless what the consequences are for that. If you did what you did, and it's interesting that the church came to the rescue, but it was more the way you describe it. It was more the principle of heaven and hell that gave you the thing. So it was not the church as a group that showed you role models. It was not the church as showing you community as a way out.
No, not at all. So from day one, we were taken to church. So I wasn't grown enough to understand the concepts of what they were saying.
Yeah.
Until I got a little bit older. So until that time happened, I was just acting up. And then that fear-based teaching kicked in. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go there. That's not a good place. So maybe I should do something different, because the things I'm doing now is going to send me there. And I was fully invested in drinking the Kool-Aid, right? trying to help other people to save them from what was going to happen to them if they didn't act right. Super judgmental, right? The whole thing, looking at people like they're less than, basically, because they're not believing what I'm believing, right? Trying to get them to change by fear-based tactics that was given to me.
Oh, priceless. Oh, priceless.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like I was brainwashed, and I was trying now to put this brainwashing on other people and try to scare them into saving them, trying to do something good with this brainwashing that was given me. So what happened was, I'm gonna tell you what happened. When I got about 17, some of the rules I was told to go by, my hormones, put it like this, my hormones were kicking in, right? This was a very strict church as far as rules go. You can't have relationships like that until you're married. And at that point, my hormones are going crazy. I'm not living at home anymore either. I left in high school and moved out in high school. So now I'm basically an adult going to high school out of the area. All this physical stuff is going on. And I was just like, I can't do this. Not this rule. I can't do this rule, right? And then I was like, well, if I'm going to go to hell because I'm breaking this major rule, why not break all the rules?
I was waiting for that. Yeah, might as well go all out.
Right. If I'm gonna go on my own terms. That's what I'm thinking. Right. So from the age of 17, when I was in church, by the age of no later than 19, I was selling crack cocaine, drinking heavily, and being very promiscuous and being violent. From that 17 years old to 19 years old, it went from one program to another program. And I'm gonna give you a little backstory on my mom and my dad. My dad had an issue with drugs, alcohol, used to sell drugs, and was violent. My mom, she had kids by different men and never had a long-term, as far as relationship, with a man in the house. I played out both of them roles to the T. Had a bunch of children by a bunch of different women, became violent, sold drugs, had an addiction problem. And that lasted for about 20 years, the addiction problem and just living that type of lifestyle. Now, at the deepest level, we all get messages. We have intuition. We know what is us, or what we think is us, and what we think is not us. And I really, truly believe when you're acting, if you're misaligned, if you're not acting in alignment, there's going to be something inside you that says what you're doing, that is not you. Even though you're doing it consciously because of, for whatever reason, you want love, you want acceptance, whatever the case may be. But deep down, you're like, what I'm doing is not me. I was sitting outside of a house one night, and we were getting ready to go in and take what was there. But there was people there. But there was too many people there. But at that time, we were outside this house. Someone asked me, I want to be the gunman, right? I knew this wasn't me, but guess what I said? Yes. So now I'm holding this Tech 9 in my hand with a big old clip, and we're getting ready to go in these people's house for these people actually in the building. And even though I didn't want to do it, I was gonna do it. And who knows how that would have turned out, right? We could have went in there, they could have just laid down and gave up whatever they had, or they could have fought back and I could have killed some people. I was putting myself in these dangerous situations. I was putting myself in this life and death, taking penitentiary chances, doing these things that I knew wasn't me, just to gain some type of acceptance or some type of fake love that I never received.
I was about to ask you, what did it give you? Were the people that you were in the car with, were they like brothers to you? Was there that kind of feeling, or was it sort of a peer pressure, or was it actually?
It was the image that people had of me. I had to live up to that, right? So if people thought, "Oh, this is a bad MFer right here," right when it's time to put in work, you got to prove that whatever they think of you is true.
But what did it give you? So you put that.
It was like acceptance and community.
Right.
If you're living in the criminal element, there's really not a lot of loyalty, right? If someone gets popped and goes to prison, and they tell on each other all the time, right? Your own people will turn around and rob you. Your own people will turn around and set you up. Well, there's no honor in thieves, right? But at the time, you think you have this solid relationship with these people, but in a heartbeat, it can change and you can be in the trunk, right? You can be getting killed. It happens all the time. You think you have a friend and they set you up and rob you and kill you. So in that type of energy, that type of frequency that you're working with, and I call it the basement, all the people you come in contact with, they got your same energy, right? All the things you do, it has that same energy. The addiction, the random sex, the violence, the dysfunctional relationships, all these things are in the basement. And you can't get what you are not. You can't get out of this basement and say, I want a better relationship. I want a better this or a better that if you're not a match to that. You're only going to get what you're a match to. So if you're vibing at a certain frequency, then you're going to get whatever you're vibing with, right? So that's why you don't see people that want to heal communities hanging out with people that want to tear communities down. They're not on the same frequency. They cannot coexist. That's like oil and water. So you're only going to get, if you're oil, you're going to get oil. If you're water, you're going to get water. So we all want different things, but we're not a match to those things. I want a relationship that's healthy and this and that and the other. When we're not healthy, this or that, we're still traumatized. We still need to heal. How is that going to show up for us? I used to have relationship after relationship and blame it on the other person, of course, even though
yeah, of course
it is, because that's what people in that frequency do. They never take accountability, and that was one of them. So I have this relationship. Oh, she's tripping. It's her fault. So someone else comes in, different name, same relationship. I'm the only common denominator here. I'm the only person that's everywhere. Everywhere I go and whatever I do, I'm the only one that's there. It's nobody else's fault that I'm in this relationship. It's nobody else's fault that this relationship is going bad. Yes, it is a dance. Yes, it's an agreed on a relationship, right? Your energy and my energy, we accepted each other at one point to get whatever we needed to get. And if we don't get it, we're going to get it again and again and again. A different person, same person, different name, I like to say. You're not going to get something better if you're still in the same place. It's just going to change for you, right? It's going to go from one thing to the next. And this is what I was doing for 20 years. On top of that, sinking farther and farther into alcoholism, not thinking I was an alcoholic because everybody I knew was doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Right? We used to get boxes of 40-ounce beers, boxes, cases of it. And we would just sit out on the block and just crack one after the other. I mean, drinking them all night to the next morning while we smoking weed and doing our thing, not thinking I had a problem. As I got a little bit older, everything kind of switched up for me. I stopped dealing with the hard drugs and things like that. And I started just moving cannabis. That's what I was doing. And I was almost turned into like a party guy now. I wasn't getting involved in anything violent. I was at the clubs doing that thing, right? Everything switched up. I thought I was doing better because I switched up from malt liquor to regular beer and tequila now, right? Now I'm better than the people out here drinking malt liquor, because people that drink malt liquor, those are the real addicts, you see?
Right.
We used to call the malt liquor dope fiend beer, right? This is what addicts drink, like 211 and, all these drinks. If you're a sophisticated drunk like me, you drink the micro brews and you drink the stuff that alcoholics really don't drink.
It's perfectly spoken, isn't it? It's perfectly spoken. The high-functioning alcoholic. See,
oh yeah, no, you're not an alcoholic. You just like to drink.
Oh, exactly. I'm social. I've got a very social life. Yeah, that's right. 9 o'clock in the morning, very social life.
Right. Right. So this is where I was going. Right. So and at the same time, I was still in the gym because I was very ego driven.
Yeah.
So if you looked at me from the outside, I still had a nice body. If you from the outside, I can't say I was healthy because I wasn't. I was eating bad and drinking, but I was doing whatever it took to still maintain that image going forward. But everything in my life, it's when you drink, you suppress. And when you suppress, the pressure builds up, and eventually it's going to express itself either in your body or your relationships. It has to be expressed at some point, because every time you drink, it pushes down that lower self and you experience that high self. Now, that high self that we experience, that's part of us. We just don't know how to get there without alcohol or drugs. It's always been there. And when we experience that no worry, no shame, no guilt place, it's beautiful. It was a false sense of presence for me. I didn't have any worries.
What changed?
Well,
what was the catalyst?
Well, that night, first of all, I used to be so hungover where I would shake the next day.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I can remember that.
Just like, what am I doing? Right? So the catalyst was, and I talk about this in every interview because it was the main thing that happened to me that changed all this around. I went to Miami for a vacation. In Miami, what do you do in Miami? You party. So I get there that night, drank till the next morning, maybe 6, 7. We watched the sun come up. And then I laid down and I got up a few hours later to go to the bathroom when I was peeing blood. So now keep in mind, I'm already anxious. I'm already having anxiety problems. I've had a couple anxiety attacks. I'm already depressed. And I don't think, what am I doing here? When you get in your late 30s and you tried everything, you're like, what am I doing here? It's like, I have no reason even to be here. What is my purpose on this planet? I thought I got everything that I wanted, but how come I still feel empty and hollow? What's going on? So now this is the last thing that I needed on top of what I was going through. So for the whole week, I didn't drink there, right? So I come back home to the Bay Area. I live in the Bay Area. And I said, oh, I should be good now. And I start back up drinking. Same thing. And I just had my last daughter. She's about to be 14 in April, but I have an older son too. It's about to be 30. But I just had my last daughter, and I just had to ask myself the real question, like, do you want to be here or not? Because this is it. Like, dude, if you continue, you 100% sure will not be here. So what is it going to be? Are you going to check in? Or are you going to check out? Those are your only two options. This is it. So what I did one night after a party, and this is the only reason why I know I'm not good with dates. Like when I start something, I just know because it was someone that I know's birthday. So after that birthday party, I got up, hungover again, and I was like, I want to live. that's it. I'm not doing this no more. And that's what started my journey to self-discovery and healing.
When was that? How many years ago was that now?
This year, well, in August of next year, it'll be 14 years.
Beautiful. Wow. You came to a point where you were sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I know that point well. Having said that, I couldn't act upon it. I was sick and tired of it. At times I had suicidal ideation. At times I felt really, really down. But I still felt I couldn't seek help. So it was really others that had helped me, in the sense my wife, behind my back, organized an admission to a rehab clinic. And ultimately, she saved my life with that, because I wouldn't have had the strength and the clarity in my mind to do the right thing for me. It's only much, much later that within, a year, 2 years down the line, did I see the enormity of what had occurred. And in recovery, we say, that the only thing that happens in recovery, the only thing that changes in recovery is everything. And I didn't realize what that really means. And nowadays I understand that, because our lives are so different, are so beautiful. But in order to get to this point where I am now, living this life so full and beautiful, I had to have a lot of help. How did you seek help? Or how did help find you?
You know what? People don't even believe it. I helped myself. No one reached out to me. I didn't reach out to anybody. Usually I only smoked when I drank, but I drank all the time. So I was smoking all the time.
Yeah.
But when I didn't drink, I usually didn't smoke cigarettes.
Right.
So I went from drinking and smoking to now just smoking for like a year. And I was very anxious, and it was such a big hole in my life, but I knew I had to continue to not do this, just doing it. And it's so funny. I have the Serenity prayer on my arm right here.
Beautiful.
So, but listen to the story. This is the crazy story. So I got this story as an alcoholic. I didn't know it had anything to do with AA.
Right.
So I just thought it was a cool, that's a cool little prayer right there. I'm fully in alcoholic at this time. I didn't know it had any association with AA. So after I got it, people were like, "Oh, you went in a program?" I'm like, "What program?" They said AA. I was like, "What? I look like a drunk or something?" They was like, "No, you have the Serenity prayer on your arm." Yeah. And they said they use that in AA. I'm like, shoot, if I knew that, I wouldn't have got it. I'm a full-on alcoholic right now. How am I gonna have a Serenity prayer on my arm? Right? Look how God works. That saying is so relevant to me now, and I never knew that it had anything to do with recovery. So after about a year of just really going through a hard time and just very depressed and very anxious, meditation came to my awareness, however it came, because I was like, I need to do something. I need to try something. And I looked it up, and I just started sitting down every day, and just for short periods of time. And I didn't know what it was going to do, but I knew it made my day better. I didn't know it was going to completely rewrite the program that I identified with. Look, we're all basically blank slates. We can be born with trauma passed down to us, but as far as this earthly experience, we're blank slates. We don't have a belief system at that point, right? We don't know who we are on a physical level. I think we know who we are on a spiritual level, and what we're supposed to be here to do. So now we're given this identity that we identify with. It's not really us, but we claim it because we're told this thing so many times over and over by society, by our parents, by the schools, whatever it is. They form you and your whole belief system. You didn't know you were the color you were till someone had to tell you. I didn't either. You didn't know your name. I didn't know my name. You didn't have a political view at all, right? You didn't have a diet. Someone had to give you your diet. If they would have gave you a different diet,
Yeah.
you would have been really resonating with that diet. What if you were born in a different culture? You didn't have a religion until someone gave it to you. So we identify with all these things. And what we do when we identify with all these things is we create boxes, and that causes separation. So anything that doesn't go align with my beliefs that were given to me, if you have different ones and we're strong, we feel strongly about our beliefs, this separates you from that person. So think about how many boxes that you create in your life that were given to you, and then how many other people that have boxes that don't align with your boxes. So now you're fighting over things that don't matter. You're fighting over things that were given to you that's not even truly your beliefs. So the reason why I was acting the way I was acting, because my program, what I identified with was not good enough, was poverty, right? Was dysfunctional relationships. So this is how I started to view everything. And when you identify with that, you manifest that same stuff. You start to make it happen because your belief about it is so strong. You create these scenarios in your life until you can rewrite that. Get that old one out, create a new one with who you really are, unlimited being, love, compassion, kindness for yourself, especially because when you grow up in dysfunction, you don't even know how to love yourself. You don't even know what that means. You're not worthy of love. And these experiences that you have when you're growing up, like when you get to old enough where other kids know that you're poor and they cut off relationships with you because now they know you're not worthy of having relationships. You see what I'm saying? So now that solidifies the belief about yourself already. I'm not worthy of friends. I'm beneath these other people. So you grow up thinking this. So you don't think you can achieve or do anything outside these certain, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't think you can do anything outside of what you believe in your conscious mind. So you say, I got these options. And these options may only be 1, 2, or 3 options, not knowing that you have unlimited options. In your mind, you created this scenario in the story saying, I can do this, this, or this. This, and this, and this, that's not an option. So maybe it's selling drugs, getting a low-paying job, whatever the case may be, you don't even know that you have other options. And then we judge people that choose the options they are aware of because they chose those options. And most of the time it's about survival.
And I mean, these are core beliefs. The fact is they run so deep in our brain, we are not aware of them. We are not, I mean, most of us are not barely aware of our emotions. Yet emotions drive our actions. But what drives our emotions is core beliefs. And they're so hardwired in us from the experiences that we had at such an early time in our life that we take them for granted. And it is working on these core beliefs that leads to such fundamental change. And guess what? Your meditation is one of these ways that you actually shut up everything up there and actually learn to just open up. And guess what? Suddenly core beliefs come to the surface and you're actually having an interaction with them, and you give yourself time to realize what truly drives you. And the moment you start to begin to realize that, you then can actually say, well, does that still actually hold true? Or are these completely wrong beliefs that somehow, somewhere, were cemented down in my head, and when I look at it in reality, what a bullshit. And how beautiful is that? But you need to stop and smell the roses. You need to stop, jump off the hamster wheel, and actually give yourself time to literally do nothing. So meditation, there's often that a misperception that you need to be there sitting in some kind of pretzel pose, have incense wafting around, and only then will you get these moments of clarity. bullshit. For me, meditation is after I've done some sport, after let's say I swim 2Ks, and then I'm just, nicely there, just cooling down afterwards, and my mind is clear. It is absolutely clear. There's not much happening there. For me, that is meditation. For me, that is opening up. Thoughts come, they go, etc. But this is where I allow my subconscious to actually come up to these core beliefs, to just percolate up, saying hello. And I might say hello, you can stay. Another one comes up,
Right.
hello. And I think, who the hell are you?
Right.
You were my core belief when I was 13. Honestly. And you try to tell me now that I'm the worst possible guy. Hey, hang on, I was 13 then when I said that. It's So these are the things. So meditation, guys, don't somehow misconstrue that. Meditation is you giving yourself time to listen to your mind, to your body, and therefore it's like having a chat, but just you shut up and actually let your brain talk, isn't it?
Yeah, it's being completely present. And
Exactly.
if you don't know what to do, though, this is the issue. If you don't know what to do, if this has never been introduced to you, if you don't have these, I don't call them coping mechanisms. I call them growing mechanisms.
Beautiful.
If you don't know what to do,
Yeah.
how do you eventually get to a place where you can do things to really help you grow and to change these programs? And this is what I'm here to do. I'm like the bridge to that world where I can go into these places where this is not really an option for people and say, look, this is an option. This stuff really, really works. So the problem is you don't even know you're wet if you're submerged in the ocean. You think you are the ocean, right? Only when you can be out of that and then water comes on you, do you know that's not really you. So if you're really submerged in this world and these beliefs, you don't know that these beliefs are not you. You have no awareness at all. So you're being, and you were talking about the subconscious. The subconscious is running the show. And that program was created for you, right? So how do you know? The subconscious sends, especially if it's dysfunctional, sends dysfunctional thoughts and options up to your brain because this is what it believes. And then you can take it or leave it, but you don't know that. So you just take it.
Exactly.
And then when you take it, it creates emotion in your body, which then has you making decisions and making moves. It is the emotions that are attached to the thoughts that come through. That's what anxiety attacks are. The thoughts come up, create emotion in your body. Your breathing starts to be irregular, and then it creates more in your body, and then you're just freaking out because you think you're dying. You're not breathing is what's happening here. Right? The emotion, the thought created fear and had you, and that's why they say when you're having any type of anxiety, you're deep breathing. It starts to settle your nervous system back. You're at fight or flight at this point. You're scared to death. Everything's going, and the adrenaline's kicking in and everything, feeling all these physical things. If you just breathe, everything starts to settle down, right? And if you do this every day, you start to settle down your nervous system on a daily basis. And what also happens with meditation is the stuff that you've been suppressing, oh, that stuff's gonna come up. All the scary stuff that you didn't want to deal with is gonna start coming up. And you can't use alcohol as a crutch anymore. You have no option but to heal and to deal with these things that are coming up. And like I said, the getting back to your true self, which is love, in my opinion, when you get back to that, you connect to that every day. And whatever God is to you, right? Whatever that is, the higher self, the universe, God, whatever it is to you. And you start connecting to that because God is not outside of you. So when you start connecting to that love inside of you, your outside life starts to reflect that. And everything you do, your career is going to take a turn. Everything you do is going to be like love. It's going to be from a loving place. You're going to find yourself around attracting loving people as well, and loving circumstances and opportunities to create change. That saying, be the change that you want to see, the change is love. When you start to love yourself, that creates change. I have people ask me all the time, what do I do to make an impact on the world? Make an impact on yourself. Be who you really are, and you're going to change the world for the better.
Yeah.
I guarantee it, because the energy that you carry around, the light that you shine wherever you go, is going to impact everybody you come in contact with.
I would even challenge that thought. I would say, be the person who you truly want to be. Because who do you want to be when you grow up? And it doesn't matter if you're 18 or 80. Who do you want to be? Who is that personality? Who is that person in you that you truly want to be? And that love, that vibration, that positiveness, that serenity, that beautiful, yes, that's me. Who is that person? Is that the person who is screaming murder at his children because they've dropped something on the floor? Or is that a different person? So if right now you are not that person, then there's some work to be done.
So I got a question for you.
Shoot.
So a lot of people, they have an idea of who they want to be.
Yeah.
But they don't know who they are. So this creates type of an issue, right? So who do you want to be? Well, I want to be just powerful, and I want to be someone that makes a lot of money. I want to be. That's not who we are.
No,
you see
that's absolutely. No, that's right. And I love what you're saying there. I don't mean it in the sense of what do you want to be? Powerful, rich, nebulously big out there. No, who do I want to be? Do I want to be caring, or do I want to be a hard-nosed go-getter who walks over corpses? Do I want to be a person who has got a smile on their face, a true smile, because they're actually in the presence and they're actually enjoying right now, sitting here, enjoying this conversation with you? Or do I want to be the guy who is now thinking immediately, oh, God, hopefully that is soon finished, and what do I want to do later, kind of a thing? Do I want to live in the moment? Who do I want to be? And that is the question that I hope people ask themselves, because there is who we are and who we want to be is often a huge disconnect. And the question is why? Why is that? So
it's about alignment. So
yeah.
I think in order to even really ask yourself that question, to get a real answer, you have to have gone through a healing process. I don't think someone that's very working with a lot of trauma still and a lot of things going on in the old program, who they want to be is going to be very superficial, probably. Because it's going to be about survival. Who do you want to be? Well, I want to be somebody that does this.
Exactly.
When you do that in your work, now you're going to be like, who do I want to be? I want to be caring. I want to be this. I want to be that. Yeah. You don't have some knowledge about who you really are. Then you don't know who you want to be.
Yep.
It's a program that's telling you who you want to be. So a lot of people want to be the biggest drug dealer that's ever walked on this planet. They want to be that.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Like if you ask somebody that's a drug dealer right now and you say, what do you want to be? They'll say, I want to be the best drug dealer out there. Literally, they will tell you that. I've been around these people, right? That's what I want to be. It doesn't matter because they're not aligned with who they are. If you're aligned with who you are, whatever you do is going to help to uplift and to connect and bring people together. It's never going to be something that's going to cause death and destruction and separation.
Okay.
I'm sure Hitler wanted to be what he became. He wanted to be that. If he didn't, he wouldn't have tried so hard and did so many things to be that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He didn't know who he was, but he knew who he wanted to be from what he was running on, from his conditioning, his program.
Okay, I see where you're coming from and your way of thinking. So how do you flip that around? How do you take someone out of that thinking and bring them towards the love, towards the vibrations that maybe are better for him and for the world around him? How do you, if you don't ask who do you want to be, what questions do you ask?
Well, if you're not in a place to ask yourself who you want to be, you're going to lie to yourself when the answer comes. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for most people, it takes something really traumatic, something very big to happen in their life, for them to even look a different direction, for them to even question their reality, question their existence. You hear these stories all the time. I was in a near-death accident, and all of a sudden, it all made sense. I'm supposed to be here doing this, and I'm doing something different now because I understand it all makes sense now, right? I had my physical thing. You had someone intervene on your behalf. Usually it takes something for us to start. You weren't even thinking about finding out who you were at that time before you went in.
That's true. That's very true.
I wasn't thinking about anything besides what I can do for myself at the time that this happened to me.
Yeah.
Right? It really is about survival. So when you don't have a really healthy, so we're all programmed until we realize that we're not. So even if you give somebody love and you say, this is what it's all about, it's about love, this and that to a child, they can get that concept, but they're really going to have to really discover that for themselves on an actual experience. They have to experience that. Even though you're giving it to them, the concept makes sense to them, but then one day they're going to go, aha, I realized what you were talking about. But now if your program is super dysfunctional, it's like night and day. It's going to be harder to make that connection from this life to like the, aha, I realized what this is all about, because you're not receiving that message. Your message is the opposite of that, right? So you're getting experiences to solidify your belief about, aha, life is.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Monk. You're absolutely right. But how do we change that? Because their view is basically a perpetual, they find reasons why their life cannot get better. They find reasons why they will never experience true love.
You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. Media, social media is getting this word out is key. You're doing it right now as we speak. It only takes one person to get something from this, to change their life, then also to change their families' lives and their kids' lives and their kids' lives. This is what we got to do. It's shining your light. When you do that, I promise you, people are going to ask you, what are you all about? There's something different about you. And then you say, well, let me tell you, this happens to me all the time. You're making a difference everywhere you go if you're moving with love, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, because they see it and they feel it. That's why I say, if you want to change the world, you be who you really are and truly are. And that's that baby that has no judgment. That's that baby that's full of just consciousness and love. That's all they want. They want love and they want to be loved. That's it. And the food. That's it. That's all they want. That's why when you look at a baby in the eyes, if that baby smiles at you, there's no way that you can hold your face without a smile. It's impossible, because you are experiencing love untainted, God untainted right now. Your face is going to have an automatic response to that. And it's going to be a smile, and you can't even help it. I don't care what mood you're in. When this happens to you, you're going to make that connection. And all that is that baby's making that connection with you on the deepest level. You're that soul. You're connected by the soul with that baby. And that baby sees you and recognizes you. And it's like, I'm giving love to you. And you receive it and you recognize it and you give love back to that child. There's nothing to cause separation at this point. They understand that your form means nothing to them. It's only about your energy that they're connected to. They don't care if you got one eye. They don't care if you got a crooked nose. They don't care if you're overweight. They don't care anything about that. They're connecting beyond form with you right now. And it brings your whole vibration up when this happens to you. And it's the same way with animals. When you see a puppy or you see a dog and they come up and pet, instantly your vibration starts to change. There's no judgment there. It's unconditional love. That's what pets give to you. That's what babies give to you. That's what we're not lacking. And I believe it's so hard for us to learn how to love ourselves. Sometimes we do it indirectly with our kids. So say you don't know how to love yourself, but then you have this baby and you know this baby is part of you. So you can unconditionally love yourself through the baby. you can unconditionally love yourself. The love that you didn't give yourself, you can give it to the baby, which is part of you. And I think that's why you're able to unconditionally love your children, but you can't unconditionally love yourself because you don't feel like you're worthy of it. But you know this child is innocent and they're worthy of it. So I'm going to do it indirectly through my child because they're worthy of it, even though I'm not.
And I guess a beautiful thing you've been saying is that you're actually giving something from you. You're giving a smile. And in this case, the baby started off with giving a smile, and you can't say no to it. What was to happen if you do that in your daily life? For example, I mean, I'm a bit of an intimidating dude, bloody skinhead, and you know, it's just I'm a big guy, so I can be grumpy, or I can actually smile at someone, and an honest smile, truly. Let's say in the supermarket, and just smile in a nice way, and suddenly the maybe the checkout girl smiles back, and I know I've made a difference. I've made that thing. So to say I'm powerless, no. Yes, you have got your background. Yes, you have got your past. But every second you have got a choice to make. You can respond in certain ways to those things that happen to you. Or if nothing has happened to you, you can initiate the chain reaction by being positive, by going out there and acknowledging a person who is not well off with a smile. And if you want to give some money to them, that's cool. But just a smile and a human interaction and a recognition is such a beautiful thing. And you have no idea how much a little tiny gesture can make the world to someone. That phone call that you make to someone who, I don't know, I sometimes had that feeling, and I thought I really ought to call this person. And it turned out that in one case, I literally saved a life because
Yes.
this person needed to hear that there is someone out there to care. And we didn't even talk about anything important. It was just, hey, how are you doing? Kind of a thing. But the sheer fact that I took that step of actually breaking through their wall and shining some light in there, being the light, the spark, that made such a huge difference in that life, in that moment. And
I
that
always
is the,
say one smile to a stranger can save their life.
isn't it?
They can, yeah, they can be out that day and just thinking about ending their life and like people suck and there ain't no good people out
Mm,
here.
mm,
And you might hold the door for somebody and smile at them. And then it's like, you know what? There are good people out here. There are
isn't it?
people that care. And in my book, I talk about random acts of kindness.
Mm,
It's like we are here to serve not only others, but ourselves, right? We're here to heal,
mm,
self-realize, and help others in their journeys as well. So whatever we do for work is our work. Sometimes it's part of our purpose, sometimes it's not. But at the very least, whatever you do is gonna be, even if it's indirectly, it's gonna be part of your purpose.
mm,
So say my purpose here is a finance guy and I make a lot of money. So that's not my purpose, but my purpose is to take that money and help the community. My purpose is to take that money and
mm,
build health and wellness centers
mm,
and to teach people that are in poverty how to manage money or whatever the case may be, right? The purpose is never money, but it might be indirectly money, but your purpose is bigger than that.
mm,
So if you make money just to have money, that's not your purpose. But if your purpose is to create money to give back, to help others, now you know you're on the right track because money is just a tool, just like anything else. You can use it for bad, you can use it for selfish reasons, or you can use it for good. But how are you going to use this tool? And I used to think money was bad when I got on this whole thing, right? No, I used to really I wouldn't accept anything from anybody. I got on this kick about when I would give to the homeless, and I would just me and the homeless people had our own relationships. Like I would see certain people at certain times when I was out and about, and we would just like have this relationship. And they would, people would ask me if I want something. I'm like, no, I don't want nothing. Because I felt like if I received it, it wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't be from the heart. But you know what I realized? And I call it the love loop. If I don't take what they're trying to give me from their heart, I'm breaking this cycle of giving and receiving. They want to give me something because they appreciate and love me. And I'm telling them no.
It's not, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm breaking the loop. So if I'm giving, when someone says, you know what, I really want to do this for you, I'm going to go, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then this whole loop just keeps going. But me thinking I'm being inauthentic, I'm not taking anything from anybody. Because in my mind, I'm like, if I'm taking something from somebody, then I'm not doing it for the right reasons, even though I was doing it for the right reasons. But what I was doing was blocking their blessings. When people do good things for you, you just want to do good things for them. That's what you want to do. It makes you feel good. I would rather give than receive. It makes me feel good. But so would other people. Other people want to give as well. But you're not letting them do that. I've tried to give people stuff before and they was like, no, I'm good. Even though it seemed in my mind like they really needed it. But it makes you feel a certain way when you like, oh, I'm gonna go bless this person. I just want to help this person. So I'm gonna go do that. And they go, no, and they shut you down. How does that make you feel? It makes you feel a certain way, like, dang, I was just trying to help. It hurts, But I was cutting their blessing off, which was cutting my blessing off. But it's giving and receiving. We're here to give and we're here to receive. It's all one process. You got to understand, think about every time you've given and received anything, it's all one thing. It's two sides it's the same coin. It's two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. One has to be a giver and one has to be a receiver. You can't have one without the other. It is exactly the same thing, just different people are receiving and different people are giving. But this whole love loop is one thing. And when we realize that, we will never say no to anything unless we don't want it. Unless we really don't want it, right? It'd be like if a little girl came up and tried to hand you a daisy and you don't like daisies, you're going to take that daisy and you're going to say thank you, and it's going to mean a lot to you.
Of course.
Right? Because that's a loving gesture she is showing you right now. And you're going to take that. Well, anytime someone tries to give you something, unless it's BS, right? You don't want to give me the BS. I ain't going to take it. Anytime someone's trying to give you, gift you something that's beautiful, that comes from their heart, no matter what it is, you take it that way. You receive it. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn.
Again, you are taking action. You're taking action by mindfully shutting up and saying thank you. You are actually not thinking about yourself. You're actually accepting this as a beautiful vibration in your life. And that is a very willful, a very mindful thing to do. It doesn't matter if you like a gift or not. Someone has actually went out of their way to give you a gift. And that is beautiful. We sometimes...
You check this out. No matter what it is, I still get that feeling though. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of cardboard. If you gave it to me and from the heart, I receive it and I feel it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll put that cardboard in my car just to remind me of this gift. You see what I'm saying? It's how are you receiving this gift? How are you receiving this love? Are you looking at it as something that's a physical thing, or are you looking at it deeper than that?
Absolutely.
Like what were their intentions when they tried to give you it? They tried to make your day. They tried to make you happy. They tried to share this love with you. And even though it's a piece of cardboard that really doesn't mean nothing, it means a lot. And that's why little gestures like that can mean so much. That's why people save little bottle caps and things like that someone had given them, because they did it from a loving place. It's not about what it is in the physical world. It's about what it is beyond that. It's that love thing again.
Oh, Monk. You have got a beautiful, beautiful way of looking at the world. And I think it is so beautiful because you have been in the darkness for a long time, but you have started to heal, And I think that was beautiful. But it is now many, many years down the line. And I dare to say that your healing happened in bouts. You healed a little bit there,
Hmm.
and then you thought, hey, I'm all done. And then suddenly you take another band-aid off, and you think, okay, there's still a lot of pus in there. So it is, I guess the story is a never-ending story, which in its own right is beautiful because you get to reinvent yourself. You get to look at your core beliefs again and again. Are they still helping you? Do they still suit you? Or is it time to actually re-look at your situation and think, well, actually, even although I have already transformed, I have already healed, I thought I did all the work, it's maybe now time to look at something else in your life that needs addressing. And what
Healing
a
is
be
healing's an ongoing process. It never
isn't it?
stops. It never stops. And if you want to grow and expand, that
Mm,
never stops either. You can choose to be stagnant. You can choose to stop your growth. But
mm,
once I started meditating, I
mm.
never stopped. And meditation, it always brings a level of self-awareness and finding things that you need to, it's like spring cleaning. You think your house is clean, then you move the couch and you sweep under it and you go, okay, I still have some more stuff to clean up, right? So what it
Yep.
does for you, right? What it does for you is it keeps you in the present moment
Mm,
for most of your day. So
mm,
when you have these thoughts and these judgments that come through, you don't attach to them. You're aware of them.
mm,
They're gonna come no matter what.
mm,
And you aware of them, you boom, you have the option of letting them go. So connecting to that every day was such a big thing for me.
mm,
I never stopped. I've been doing this for years and years and years and years, having like Kundalini awakenings and just crazy stuff that energy just rushing out of my body, having rashes on my body because all the stuff that I was healing from was starting to come out of my skin.
mm,
All the suppressed and repressed emotions started to come up. And like I said, they're going to show up physically.
mm,
They're going to really show up. So when you have a bunch of stuff that's been packed in there for so long and it starts to come up, things are going to happen,
mm,
right? So the healing journey never ends. You're just becoming more of who you truly are on a regular basis if you choose to do the things to take you there. We're never done. And the more work you put in, the more beautiful it is. The more clarity you have, the more peace you have, the more
mm,
joy you have, the more purpose is shown to you. You're only going to get what you're ready for.
mm,
And if you're not ready to do certain things, well, those opportunities are not going to come.
mm,
I was so insecure before I spoke my first time. I was so insecure in high school because of my story. My story was I was this, and this, right?
mm,
My teacher said, if you don't stand up and read this in front of the class, you're going to fail. Because I wasn't a good student already. And this was like 50% of the grade. And I got up there and I read it in front of class. I was 16 years old. I'm about to be 52 years old right now. 16 years old. And my whole face was shaking. It seemed like everybody's eyeballs were burning a hole in me. And it was only about 2 minutes I had to be up there. And when I sat down, I said, I'm never doing that again. I'd rather fail a class than to do that because I was so insecure, right?
mm,
Fast forward 30, 40, 30 something years. I do a Facebook Live on sobriety,
yeah.
right? And I was so nervous to even do it on a phone, right?
Mm,
And I can hang up whenever I want. It's not like there's a crowd there and it's like I can make the crowd go whenever I want. Like if I don't want to be there, I just click, crowd's gone, right? Everybody's gone. So I was still super nervous. I had to leave the house to do it. I left the house and went to the park. I had to get out of that home environment,
mm,
and I did it. And so many people resonated with my message because at that time I was 8 years sober. So that was
mm,
like 6 years ago.
mm,
And then what happened from that is someone gave me a direct message, and they're from LA, and they said, "I want you to come to my house and speak, and I want to pay you for it." So from stepping through that fearful place about doing a video
mm,
on my phone,
mm.
this woman goes, "I want you to speak in my house and I want to pay you for it." Before I can talk myself out of it, I told her yes. So
Beautiful.
now this is set up. So I go down to LA to this woman's never been to this woman's house before. She just happens to be the wife of the lead singer from the band War. You know, War, Why Can't We Be Friends?
Yeah.
That band. So she's the wife or the husband of that lead singer of that band. So I go down there, I'm in the pool with I don't know any people down there. And I speak for the first time in front of people. And from that moment on, doors just started opening for me to run my mouth. Like I stepped through that insecurity. My program is being rewritten. Not only am I not afraid to get up in front of people, it's part of my purpose to get up in front of people.
Nice.
So a lot of times, most of the things we are so frightened of is because we have superpowers in that area. We're scared of our own greatness. So we get in our way because we don't truly believe this is who we are. So we kind of sabotage ourselves, right? And then when you get that out of the way, now you're making this real connection and you start to get guided by, like I say every time, God, universe, source, whatever you want. You start to get this intuition, you start to get guided and get guided to people and situations that open up the doors for you and opportunities because you're living your purpose and you're shining your light, and wherever you need to be, you're going to have access to that. So you got to stay open and stay bright, stay shining, and then the opportunities will come to you. And that's why we're talking today. They come, you get up here, you tell your story, you do it with love, you do it with authenticity, and you just shine that light wherever you go. So any interview that I come to, there's never any like nervousness or whatever. I'm being guided to this interview. Why should I be nervous about an interview? Why should I be nervous about standing in front of people? It's not about me, it's about them. When you take the focus off of yourself and you put it on the people you're supposed to help, you're not nervous anymore.
How beautiful is that? And that is the crux of it. Once you started moving into the right direction, you get really, truly thirsty for that change because you feel how good it feels. You know that speaking out is initially, my God, the anxiety and the imposter syndrome and all those kind of things. Who are you to tell your story? That kind of bullshit core belief. It is awful. And then when you actually start speaking out, the very first thing you probably will realize is there are no repercussions. On the contrary, people say, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Right.
And you think, wow, they thank me? Why is that? And you realize that you have become the light in their darkness. And that is such a beautiful position to be. And you don't have to be perfect. I'm perfectly imperfect, rest assured. I still have got... where to start? Oh, for Christ's sake. We can do a whole interview on those things where I'm not perfect. So, okay. So, no. Let's not go there. I don't want to waste your time. But the reality is there is so much more work to do for me. But I'm honored and I'm humbled that I now can see that this transformation is ongoing, that I will have the everyday new choices to make, and I'll try to make them in such a way that my light shines brighter. That's why I'm sitting here with you, Monk, and it's beautiful. And I'm incredibly honored that you came onto my show and actually speak about your experience. And every single word you said is gold. Everything is actually beautifully important and clear the way you described it. If people love what they hear about you, first of all, your book, where can we get your book?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon right now.
There you go.
You can
cool.
Get it. Yeah, there. You can get it on Amazon right now. Yeah. And you can message me directly and I can send you a signed copy.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm going to start putting it up on my website. It's not there yet, but you can find all my social medias up there. It's monketernal.com, MONKETERNAL, monketernal.com. And you can find me on there. And you can just give me a direct message and I'll send you one with an autographed copy. And this book, I made myself a bit available. I wasn't planning on it. And I write about that in the book, how it happened. But it just came. It just came. I wrote down these 10 things and I just said, this is what I need to do. I seen a video said, what do you give your audience when you speak? I said, my words, my love, my energy. But when they go home on Monday, they forget all of that. So what can I give them that's tangible to give them reminders
Yeah.
who they are and the love that they are. So I created a book. So when I do my speaking stuff, I can take books and I can hand them out to people.
And guys, look down there into the description of the YouTube video and of podcast. We've got all of Monk's details in there. So very easy to click on or copy and paste. And whilst you're down there, press the subscribe button. And whilst you're down there, you might as well think, wow, okay, this was a pretty cool interview. So find one person in your tribe and say to that person, hey, that was a really good interview. Why don't you have a listen to it? And maybe you become the bringer of light. Maybe you become the divine spark that lights up their life by just actually speaking up and by being out there and doing the wonderful, wonderful things that changes lives. And these wonderful things, they are not major things. They are that smile. They are that phone call. They are that, hey, I've heard this really cool thing. Maybe there's something you want to listen to. That can be the message that they need to hear for their life to change forever. How powerful is that? How beautiful is that? So, Monk, thank you so much for coming onto my show. I'm really, really grateful. As with all of my guests, you have changed the way I look at things. You have questioned, or you made me question how I look at certain things. And for that, I have grown. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. So,
Thank you
Monk,
so much for having me on. Every time anybody has a conversation with each other, you have grown. You're always the learner. You're always a student and the teacher. Always the student and the teacher. So you have taught me things. I may have taught you things, but it's the connection of the minds, connection of the hearts, right? From here to here, from here to here, is joining with you from here to here, and then we learn from each other, and that's how we do it. When we move with this energy, we affect everyone that we come in contact with, and when you have two people moving in that same energy, it's powerful. And I just know that your show is going to continue to help people. You can't change anybody, but you can give them that, oh, never thought about it like that. Let me do some investigation on that. Let me go deeper on that. Let me question my own reality. So I appreciate you, brother.
No, very much so. Monk, thank you very much. And you guys out there, look after yourself. Stay strong. Honestly, I believe in you guys. There is hope. And it's okay not to be okay. But seek out help and look forward to the change that will come. Look after yourself. Bye.